Hello there, and welcome to the new moon in Aquarius. And the new moon in Aquarius is always the beginning of the Chinese New Year. So once the new moon hits, usually they announce the day after is Chinese New Year. So it's a big deal, the new moon in Aquarius, and also the year of the dragon. And because the year is ending in a 4, that means the wood element. So it's a wood dragon. And the wood element is all about uh, think of the woods, think of plants, think of sprouts, think of greenery, think of the spring, think of associations with the spring, and wood would be the gallbladder and the liver. It would be um, detoxing those organs. So I find all of this interesting, when a whole year is shifting element, because the last 2 years have been the water element. The water element is all about the kidneys, emotions, kidneys and bladder, fear, boundaries. Were you going through that the last couple of years? Now we're shifting into 2 years of wood. So liver, gallbladder, fire, will, passion, anger, frustration, decision making, who's driving. And the dragon is bold, and the snake will follow. Two very bold, strong signs after a very gentle sign of the rabbit. So for those of you who are rabbits or who are compatible with the rabbit, you might have enjoyed the energy this year. It's more, what's the word? Yeah, gentle or delicate, but also the rabbit does not like to confront anything, doesn't like conflicts, won't go about conflicts directly, even if they have one. So a lot of socializing in the rabbit year, though. So you might have enjoyed that. Stepping into the dragon is a big deal. Dragon is related to Aries. It's fire breathing, it's strong, it's bold, it's not taking any BS, is it? So that means to me, we're stepping into a year where there will be more boldness, bigger decisions, more far-reaching decisions, bigger steps taken, whether it's yours or around us globally. And some people will find that scary when things change in a big way. Other people will find it a relief that there is momentum, and finally we stop the tippy toe of the rabbit. So depends on your animal and your sign, which way you're going to feel about it. So the new moon in Aquarius kicks off our Chinese New Year. But let's take a look now at the chart. And before I begin, I would just like to say, if you enjoy my content and you benefit from it, please don't tell anyone. Click like, subscribe, share if you like. I'm being facetious. Yes, please like, subscribe, and share. That makes me happy. And if you would like to join my intuitive community, I have the Intuition Cafe. I put the link down below all my videos. We are going to have an online event on the 15th of February. So that's exciting. Anybody from anywhere can come join an intuition circle. It's very lighthearted. I want people to just meet other like-minded people, talk about your intuitive experiences, what's going on for you, and do a little bit of practice, and then some more sharing and socializing. So it's lighthearted. Anybody can come. Anybody. I have another event that'll go for the Intuition Cafe. That'll be our second event. So it's a brand new location. And that will be it's called Cafe Pigeon or Cafe Pigeon. And it's in NDG, Notre Dame de Grâce in Montreal. So if you are visiting or live in the area, want to come out, that is on the 22nd of February at Cafe Pigeon. And that'll be 7 to 9 p.m. So if you want to follow any of the events I do, then the best way is to like me on Facebook, Clairvoyant Medium, Catherine Allen. And if you want to buy either of my books and check them out, that makes me happy. Lots of people have been writing to me lately about my latest book, Vibes from the Other Side. All of a sudden, most of the time people write to me about the intuition book, a little bit of intuition, but now they're starting to write to me about vibes from the other side. So let's changes in the air here. And yeah, without further ado, let's take a look at this chart. Share screen. Did I open it? No, I didn't yet. Okay. Let's do this. Yes. So while I'm sharing the screen, I will just say that we have an interesting and not so easy aspect coming up that I am already feeling in advance. So I will warn or foretell. So just to let you know, we have Mars conjunct Pluto coming up on Valentine's Day on the 14th. So Mars and Pluto together is not easy. It's very much volatile, very powerful, potent, but very volatile. And it means, what's going on here? Okay, I gotta do this a little differently. Sorry, folks. It means that there's a powerful, power tripping, power hungry, acute, confrontational energy. There's you know, courage, breakthroughs, standing up for yourself, standing up for others. There could also be like a very destructive side. Mars and Pluto could bring all kinds of, you know, nasty war type maneuvers too, unfortunately, subversive maneuvers, um, very seductive yet destructive people around. So you could experience it as, a conflict. Why won't this thing let me exit the photo and share it with you? My God, why is everything complicated? Alrighty, I'm a little frustrated, but I will figure this out. It's when I try to expand the chart that I want to show you, it is blacking out the screen so I can't see my controls on the Zoom. So let's just see how we can get around this. All right, there we go. So you can see that this chart is all squashed on this one side, right? Every time we do the chart, I talk about the configuration of the aspects and how it's laid out top bottom, side to side. It all means something. So ascendant AC, descendant DC, the horizon line right here. Anything above it is easy for us to be conscious of or aware of, or we see it playing out. Anything below tends to be a little more unconscious, and therefore we know, when things are unconscious, they still play out, but people might not be aware of them, or they might not acknowledge them. It might be clear as day to somebody who's used to seeing below the surface or read in between the lines, but the average person might go, oh, I don't see anything. Or they go, yeah, but no, I don't think, no, doesn't matter, and dismiss. So that's happening. There's a decent split, but most of them seem to be in what we call a stellium or a cluster down here. And they're all on this side. They're all on the side of relating to other people or needing other people, reliant on teams, groups, partnerships, versus the other side, which is usually go your own way, independent, self-sufficient. So that already tells me there's potential for misunderstandings in the air because we have this cluster, including Pluto in there and Mars. Yeah, and Mercury all clustered together below the surface. So you might see things that you thought, or that you never thought of, or that you've been suppressing or going, well, I thought that was dealt with or gone, but it isn't. Things might sort of bubble up to the surface with these planets. So we've got Sun and Moon in Aquarius, 20 degrees, making a nice aspect here to the South Node. But that's the South Node. You know, a nice angle to the direction that we need to move away from. So, the South Node is in Libra right now, which tends towards, cooperation and mediation and justice and weighing things and seeing what is fair. And Sun, Moon are happy together in Aquarius, lingering around with the Libra South Node. So very, very heady aspect, like heady meaning talking in concepts, talking about theories, philosophies, rehashing topics, but not getting anywhere necessarily, but enjoying doing it. You might see some of that. Now, the other thing it's making a decent angle to then is the North Node, but it's a sextile, so it's not as strong, but still. Now, the sextile in Aries means you got to work harder to connect to that North Node energy than you do to hang back with the past life energy of the South Node. So we're more inclined to just sort of be lazy and keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. When the North Node in Aries with Aquarius there would be like, and what are you going to do about it? Let's do something. Let's boldly go where they haven't gone before. Let's just get off the, get out of the starting gate here and run. Let's do something. That you got to work a little harder at. You'll be more inclined to sit back and just ponder, 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 which is not great for a lot of situations because there's endless rehashing versus going forward with all kinds of decisions that we all know. Just take your pick of the things that people are waiting for that need to be decided so that things can change. Anything from any kind of negotiations to basic decisions on people's public health care, you name it. So that's the first thing I'm feeling. The overall feeling has like an easy feeling to me, even though there's a few squares in there, but the overall configuration to me of these aspects in the planets sort of feels like almost literally all these planets are like, oh, they almost look like my body shape, Oh, there's my head, there's my arm. I'm just leaning on my elbow. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. We should really talk about that kind of thing. So let's step into the next little bits of what is a bit difficult here. The Sun and the Moon in Aquarius are squaring. You see the red line? They are squaring Uranus. Uranus rules Aquarius. So it's squaring off even though they're similar nature. Now, Sun, Moon square Uranus can bring some surprises. That can be anything, a surprise announcement, a surprise, like something shocking. It can bring like restlessness in your mind. It can bring a bit of anxiety for sure. when it's square the moon, your emotions sort of, fluttering and jumping. Um, Moodiness, you know, Uranus is in Taurus. It's not happy there. It does not want to change. Thank you very much. And it's forcing it to change. And it's square the moon and sun. So in fixed signs, I would expect to see some stubbornness, some rehashing, some resisting, and then in the midst of that, because it's Uranus, it's not some other planet that makes that square just get all bogged down and stuck in a standoff. Something might come in and disrupt or shock or shake it up. So overall, I get this feeling of like overthinking and ho-hum status quo, and then a few little, thrown in the mix. Now, let's take a look. Extend our reach here. We've got Mercury in Aquarius too. And then we've got Mr. Pluto here at 0. So 7 degrees is pretty much conjunct. Mercury, Pluto, very powerful with your words and thoughts right now. For whatever reason, maybe you'll find that your words have a lot more weight than they have in other times during this little window of the new moon. So we have to be careful what language we use towards others, and also even just our self-speak, because Mercury and Pluto could be like a bully. It could be extremely intelligent and thought-provoking and profound and blow your mind, literally. Or it can be like, Pluto can be sometimes like power tripping, manipulation, thug-like energy. And with Mercury there, it could be the person that's like, yeah, you want a piece of me? So with Mercury, Pluto there, I would watch for that during the new moon, or people like that. Don't let people provoke you to say something you regret. And as you can see, the Pluto is also squaring, Pluto Mercury is also squaring Jupiter up there in Taurus. So, Mercury and Pluto in Aquarius is going to be a rebel. It's going to be very independent-minded and eccentric. It does not care if it shocks you. In fact, it might want to. It might blurt out something just to provoke you, just to say something different, just to get you to open your mind. And Jupiter in Taurus is very like, wants things to stay calm and status quo and a little more charm or decorum than that, a little more, let's stick with sort of what is safe but respectful, but it's also compromising a lot of freedom of self-expression in trying to keep it so. And so you've got Pluto and Mercury squaring off with that. They do not care if they disrupt your comfort. So in the midst of the overthinking zone, you may have a few little zingers thrown in, or people trying to like zap or shake the pot or say something to literally piss someone off. So, or you might be the one doing that. And yet it doesn't feel super intense to me. But it all depends on what context we apply this to. This could be a party and there's some eccentric person who's like really awkward and embarrassing and says things with Mercury, Pluto. Again, like you're at a classy party, Jupiter and Taurus. Mercury, Pluto shows up and says, hey, is this stuff free? Something like that, Or, I don't know, they just blurt. They blurt and they don't care. And they disrupt the feathers. They ruffle the feathers. Or, sometimes it could be even worse than that with Mercury, Pluto. Somebody could call somebody a You name the name out loud and disrupt a meeting or a gathering. So there's lots of potential for that. Doesn't have to go that way, but potential. But again, the strongest trine in the chart is this south node to Libra, which, Mercury and Sun, Moon, and south node are going to want to just endlessly discuss things in a idealistic or detached kind of way. So it might just find a way to overlook or drown out the Mercury Pluto. It might not. It's difficult. The next challenging thing comes with Venus, Mars, and it's a stretch for Pluto, Venus, Pluto. Mars, Pluto, okay? So Mars, Pluto down here. Mars is in Capricorn still, but it's 3 degrees away from Pluto. Now, this is the volatile thing. This is the angry. This is the lash out. This is the burn the barn down. This is the launch, launch the weapons, whether they're for real or verbal or emotional weapons. Or if you're lucky, this is, a very strong momentum towards something positive and transformative. But honestly, most people use this energy, I would say, in the more self-destructive or destructive side, because it's harder to harness these two intense warrior-like planets together without feeling some sort of inner explosion that's about to happen. So if you feel a buildup, like you're going to just unleash or fire off or explode, it's very hard for most of us to use that level of intensity and put it into something productive. Like, I don't know, you could sure clean the house well under that influence if you put it towards cleaning. You could build something, it needs to be like really physically productive, or you put it into some sort of piece of music or exercising. Even, I would say, be careful. You can overdo it and injure yourself with Mars, Pluto. So I'm expecting to see that play out, but the exact conjunction is February 14th. So, now the full moon is, the new moon is the 9th. You got a few days, but you're going to feel it. So again, and it might come up from out of nowhere because it's got aspects here up to Uranus. It might just come like blasting out of nowhere. I already had this happen to me the last 2 days. I seem to get the influences of these lunar cycles a few days in advance of them actually happening. And I'm sure some of you other empaths do as well. And empathic, sensitive, intuitive folks. So I had somebody out of nowhere that I hadn't spoken to in 4 or 5 years just come and blast me for something and attack my character and would not stop, no matter what I said. And I handled it, but it wasn't fun. Now that certainly would be like a Mars Pluto moment, and trine Uranus, like just out of nowhere, someone decides, hey, I'm angry and you're my target. I'm going to take it out on you. So that's how it might play out for some of you. Hopefully you won't get it the same way I did, but we might see that in other forms on the global scene or in our neighborhoods, just a sudden outburst of strong will, of anger, of aggression. Hopefully not too bad for everybody, but it's in the air. So I'm just saying to be careful. And Venus is also very close to this Mars, even though it's too far away from Pluto, but they're still all sitting together at the same table. Venus just adds extra desire in there, even though the Mars is in Capricorn. It's supposed to be more self-controlled. Venus and Mars together, it's sort of like this power couple that just wants what it wants, and it's going to say what it's going to say, and it's going to climb, and it's going to get what it wants, kind of thing. It's maybe you're going to be lucky and you will get what you want with that influence, and others will just be the byproduct of someone else of getting what they want. Now it is trine Uranus, so in one way it could be you could use this desire nature for positive, but there's still Uranus in there. I mean, any wild card thing could happen. I would expect, like, Venus and Mars are in the 5th house of love and romance, creativity, and trine Uranus in the 9th house. It could be, for some people, you might get lucky. There's some sort of long distance romance going on, or some sort of trip, some sort of awakening to new learning, because it's the 9th. It's all about expansion. But Venus and Mars in the 5th house in Capricorn, how would they be as dating? They'd be very picky. They would pay for the dating service. They wouldn't just go with what's free. And they would be looking for people of some sort of status. They're not going to settle for anybody. So there's an upward climbing, ambitious side when it comes to those energies, and Uranus could bring sudden monkey wrench, or it could bring sudden luck. That's the thing with Uranus. We never know. Now, all the while, we also have Venus squaring off with that south node and the north node. So, in this desire to climb and to get ahead and to have what it wants, and to, sort of seek to be at the top somehow. The south node in Libra drags it back, saying, well, that's not fair to everyone. And the north node in Aries says, stop worrying about manipulating and dominating other people. Just do what you got to do, man. So there's a conflict in there, which just fuels all of this stuff with Uranus as well, because it's challenging Venus and Mars, which are sitting together, which is right beside Pluto. It wants it what it wants when it wants it, and it wants it to be good and better than and above and over others, and it wants status. It wants, more money than other people, or whatever have you, like, and it's being seriously challenged. So therefore, with Pluto there, and it can bring out a lot of temper, potentially. Now, Venus and Mars are doing well with Neptune in Pisces, but Neptune in Pisces is not going to add that much to it. It might because it's in the 8th house. I mean, when I see Neptune in the 8th house, I'm thinking very murky financial investments or people around, scams. I'm thinking, covert hiding. It's other people's money. Neptune. Ugh. What are they hiding? How are they actually making their money? So if this is the ally of Venus and Mars and Capricorn that wants to climb to the top, well, how are they going about getting it? If it's Neptune and Pisces? Yeah, not so sure. So it's flowing well, but you sort of question the ethics. Now, what else we got going on is Saturn in Pisces as well. And that's sitting there in the 7th house of relationships. And it'll be in Pisces for a while. As you can see, it's only at 7 degrees. For now, with where the timing of the chart is, it's in the seventh house. So for now, this sort of does color our Valentine's Day a bit. Saturn in the seventh is people that want a long-term serious relationship. They don't want to just have fly by night. They want real love. They want a compassionate and spiritual partner. So some of you, some of you seeking that, you might get that under this influence. But maybe there's going to be a shift this Valentine's Day to the messaging. Maybe it'll be a little more about finding an actual love and acceptance and having something more than just your stats and your hookup, and something much deeper, including spiritual alignment with your partner. Wouldn't that be nice? Yes. And it's making a nice aspect to Jupiter, so that in that case, that does strengthen that desire, for a stable, loving, open-minded, committed partnership. So let's leave it at that, because that's just really nice. All right, let's look to the tarot for our more insight on this new moon. And the new moon, in a sense, you could look at it as the predictor of the Chinese New Year. This chart is sort of like a birth chart of the year of the dragon. So that's what we're looking at, this chart we're analyzing. This is not just this moon. This would be like the birthday chart. So the year of the dragon. So what did I just say about people seeking spiritually aligned, committed relationships? All righty. Let's see what else is coming up for our new moon and dragon year. All right, the first card is the Ten of Wands, which says oppression, and that means any of you that are feeling oppressed, restricted, tested, bogged down, not free, can't stand it any longer. Saturn in Sagittarius, something's restricting your freedoms. It's pretty obvious from this card, isn't it? And it's not just one wand, there's two. It's very heavy. So if any of you are in a situation that you feel like you just can't stand it, or you're about to break, that could be that you hate your job, your city, you've got to get out of your relationship. You've got to take a step back from something you said yes to. Something is restricting you and crushing you too much. So not the easiest place to start off with, but when it's the 10, usually it's gotten to an extreme and things tend to fall apart, or we are forced to change them. And another 10, Wheel of Fortune. This is good. We'll see which way it turns, but I would imagine it's turning for the better after the 10 of Wands. How could it not? So, Wheel of Fortune literally just represents that there is a time for everything, and you're up and you're down, and you will be up and you will be down again, and you will be up again. Oh, okay. And now we've got the Chariot. Interesting. So remember I said that there are not just one wand, but two that'll press the flames here. And here we've got the two that are driving the chariot. The chariot is like usually a time where you have to consolidate. You have to find a way to bring two opposites or two opposing forces together and work with them. So in this case, he's got to get these two rolling. He's got to get them to move and pull the chariot. How's he going to motivate them? to move. They're already facing the same direction, but they don't look like they want to go anywhere. So he has to get not just his will, but other people's will in motion to get anything done. So thus the obstacle card of the Chariot. He also, you know, if we're talking about love and stuff, he's also, look at the armor he's got on. So after all of that oppression and you have a chance to break free of it, look at the armor that he needs to stay protected. He's still got this shiny disc in his solar plexus, showing that, you know, he's got a lot of will and power. But when it comes to love, you wouldn't want to have that much armor, would you? Next card is our Princess of Swords, who usually is very precocious, very smart, but in a clever, like facetious, playful kind of way. She can be a pain in the butt, to be honest. She likes to show off that she's smarty pants. She likes to point out things to people that are wrong. She likes to rebel against the rules just because. She likes to get away with things just because she can. She really has a lot of potential if she grows up a bit and matures, but she usually tends to be fairly self-destructive. And a lot of the time she feels she's defending herself and fighting the fight of her life, but she doesn't realize she's going against herself. Boy, what cards, man, not easy. Okay, we've got the Hanged Man here. So there's some sort of slowing down and making a slow, conscious sacrifice and a change through slow, drip by drip kind of means. You know, he's hanging there sort of in search of enlightenment. Or you could say, is he, you know, is he trying to rescind his sins? Is he trying to cleanse and purify himself? Is he punishing himself or has he been punished? The ankh around his foot that he dangles from would suggest, you know, past lives, and the snake around the foot would suggest also transformation and a rebirth of the self, or even, again, past lives. So this card often to me is like, it's not just dragging and lagging and slow in your life because of circumstance now. It could be deeper than that. There could be karma from other lives that is playing out right now, and you wish you could be where you want, but you're not. It's slower. And you will have to go day by day and pace yourself with this. Now, that would be very hard for the Princess of Swords to do. That would be like putting her, the most restless, feisty kid you can think of, in solitary. All right, then we've got the Six of Swords, which is good after that. So we've got Mercury in Aquarius here. You can see that it looks very sort of light and clear and organized, even though there's lots going on. It's balanced. There's the cross in the middle, which would suggest, again, spirituality or healing. And all the swords point inwards towards it. So it feels like there's multiple parties involved and they're all on board and they're facing the same direction. It's not a conflict card. Often this card it says science, but I often find it can even be as far as saying something surgical or very detailed, very detailed. So it's interesting, after the Hangman and the struggles of the Chariot and the Princess, the Hangman you might need to sit still and be slowed in order to achieve a more precise scientific mind that you can then apply to other things you're doing, which will be it'll be much more well done, much more efficient. And then we've got the universe. So you might be putting closure on something that you have been working on, or you might finally, through the science card, you have read books, you have analyzed, you have put your thoughts and your words in order enough that you can call it a day. You can say you have actually closure on something. It could be a pinnacle with the universe card. Something could just be like the crowning glory. It's done. You've presented a thesis. It's done. It's received. There's accomplishment. There's amazing, growth. There's pride. Or if it's interpersonal, it could be a relationship. You have thought about it and thought about it. You've looked from all angles. You've been detached. You're calling it, accurately what it is, or you found a way to deal with something and you get this closure where all of a sudden the relationship lightens up. There's the end of one chapter or way you've been together, but now maybe there begins a new one. Doesn't mean a loss. Even if there's an end of a chapter within a relationship, doesn't mean it's over. Just means, oh, same two people, but we're going to relate in a new way now. The Nine of Cups after that, happiness and joy, family bonds, celebrations, meeting people, sharing your heart, groups, parties. Yeah, lovely. Love it. You're getting some sort of peace and closure, and it's going to bring in abundance and alignment and the right things. Much more happy. That's lovely. And then you end off on the Queen of Wands. Well, somebody who definitely has her strong will intact. Somebody bold. That would be a very North Node in Aries type of card. She's going to be bold and take risks. She's pioneering something. She's got some leadership. Sometimes the Queen of Wands, as we know, can be controlling or demanding. But in this case, I feel like it's almost like the Princess of Swords grows up. She harnesses all of that fluster and bluster around her, and she gets more singular and she can accomplish a lot more. What a reading! All right, we're going to take a look at, do you want me to look at Valentine's Day? Or would you rather I look at the dragon year for you? I'd say let's do the year. Let's do the dragon year, okay? What's your dragon year going to be about? And I'm not going to pull just one card this time. I'm going to pull 3 for each sign because it's a big deal when the dragon starts to me. All right, I'm not burning sage. I've got Palo Santo today. Just trying to get a good burn in here. Here we go. I love this smell. And you hardly, I mean, this can last for years. One little piece can last for years. All right. So let's look at how the dragon year is going to go for your sign. 3 cards. All right, Aries. You got the 4 of Cups, 5 of Swords, 7 of Wands. So you will have some abundance this year, some comfort. You will, I would say financially, things are looking up. You have to work well with the resources you have. Because the abundance, like this is luxury, it's not just abundance. You could get a boost of income or a boost of something that gives you this sense of abundance. Then you have to be careful not to sort of think that it's always going to be that way and take stupid risks or start, I don't know, bragging about it to others or whatever. So keep your abundance close to your chest and think about how you can use it smartly. Now, the 5 of Swords, there is, and the 7 of Wands, there is some sort of conflict coming, and you're going to need to stand up and set your foot down, set your boundaries down. Mars in Leo, if you've been in a situation where you're putting up with crap or you feel taken advantage of, you're going to have to say something. You might be stepping up and saying, defending others. whatever this ending is, it's coming with, you know, pretty severe boundaries or consequences to the person. And I get a feeling it's a real game changer in your life. But at the same time, I get a feeling like it needs to end. So I know these things are never pleasant if I'm telling you, oh, something that you find is okay right now is actually not okay. It needs to end. It's never fun to hear that. But if you can be honest with yourself in advance, it helps to be honest with yourself in advance. You know, things can be like a huge, nasty, messy blowout, or they can be much more expedient and quick and clear. Depends if you're honest with yourself. And it's going to ask you to get into a deeper alignment. And if you have abundance in your life, which I definitely see as well, it's going to be a good year on lots of levels. This could be a jealous person in your midst. You know, this could be a competitor. This could be somebody that's just not stepping up like you thought they would. But as your life increases, something is going to be clearer, like, oh, this isn't working. And you might step back and go, well, maybe was this always work? Is this really a surprise, or was this always working, or maybe this wasn't working? And you can be honest with yourself about what actions to take. All right. Taurus, what is your dragon year going to be about? So you got the Two of Wands, Three of Swords, and the Seven of Cups. Well, you know, you're still not out of the woods when it comes to Uranus and your sign. So some of you may still have some surprises, some things that you didn't think you'd have to deal with. Now, Two of Wands is a battle of wills with somebody. Two equal opponents, lots of friction. Could be an argument, could be you know, sometimes it's like a standoff, like a silent treatment and a standoff. Other times it's actively arguing and yelling. Fighting over property lines, fighting over resources, fighting over, you know, who's right. Very stubborn energy, this. It says dominion, so somebody wants to be the winner, dominate. So take a look at those situations in your life, and are they really worth the fight? The Three of Swords suggests some losses, some grief, unfortunately. This could be related to this big standoff and fight. You know, if you've been too proud to have a conversation or admit where you're wrong, you could lose a relationship, right? Can happen to any of us. You might just be feeling the grief and the weight of the world. You might be missing somebody you lost. But the grief card's not easy. And like I said, Uranus is still in your sign, and so it brings up surprises. I don't want to say like all Tauruses are going to have a hard year, because that's just not true, you know? Um, Just trying to think what else is accenting. Well, Pluto is moving in to square your sign as well, and this is the beginning of those tensions as well. Seven of Cups. For this one, first caution I get is you really got to be careful if you are using any kind of substance or food addictively. You know, this can definitely be that kind of card. If you look at it, it's like a swamp, and the water's dirty, obviously. things growing in the swamp. Now, that swamp could be your body, and you need to clean up your diet, your act, your food, it could be your mind. You need to clean up your mind. You know, if there have been too many upsetting things, or you're not eating right, you're not thinking right, if you're involved in anything that's not, really aligned for you, it can muddy the mind. It can also be people around you that you can't really trust, that you don't really see clearly. It's a swamp. So, because Taurus is just beginning this journey of Pluto squaring it, and trust me, I'm a Cancer. I just went through 16 years of Pluto uh, cleaning up my relationship house. So for Taurus, it's cleaning up your career. And sometimes people say family, it's the 10th house. Your public standing, your public image, your parents or authorities around you. That would be classic 10th house as well as career. There's a lot of challenge coming your way, and you're strong enough to meet it. You've got Jupiter still helping you for the first few months of this year. Uranus still depends on where you are in the Taurus journey. It's getting towards the end. So those of you who are Taurus in May, closer to Gemini, you're going to be feeling that more in the next couple of years. Some of you at the April Tauruses, you've already had your moment of Uranus where you probably felt like you were just like, oh, jumping out of your skin. But whatever that brought you, whatever shakeup it brought you, hopefully you've settled your feathers and you're like, you know what? I did need that. You know, Taurus can get so comfortable and routined that sometimes, and it's just so lovely to, right? They don't want it to change, but sometimes things get stale if they aren't, shaken up a little bit. So I do feel you're going to have a bit of a wake up and shake up kind of year. There's a clearing and a cleansing of that swamp. For me, that image sort of helps, even though it's not fun. If I got that message of like clean up the swamp year, I'd be like, oh, okay, that would make sense to me. It's like, all right, then. So what environments am I around? Are they healthy for me? What am I putting in my body? Is it healthy for me? Who am I spending my time around? Is it positive and healthy for me? If the answer is no, it's the swamp. So there's a clearing out coming. All right, let's do Gemini. All right, just wanted to burn some sage before we get into Gemini. It's the Taurus one was a bit heavy. All right, so Gemini, what is coming for your dragon year? All right, so you've got the Sun, you got the Eight of Wands, you got the Five of Wands. Okay, interesting. So there, the Sun is awesome. Happy times, shining, standing out, playing with your kids, feeling playful, you know, could be a nice love relationship, partnership comes in if you see the partners there. And if it is, it has like a feeling of fun and innocence to it. Otherwise, this could be you with your current partner or you with your children, people around you. It's really nice. I get a really nice, open, bonding, inclusive feeling for you this year. Happy, very happy times. And Jupiter is going to be going into your sign, I believe, starting in May or June, and it'll last the whole year, a whole year. So you have like that feeling of fortune and luck on your side for the year. Now, the Eight of Wands is awesome because even though it's a Sagittarius card, swiftness, it still means things move quickly, and you like that. There's activity, there's traveling, there's flying, there's exercise, there's getting outdoors, there's, being invited to things, there's long-term um, or long distance projects or long-term projects that can happen. There's a lot of like, boom, boom, it's moving quickly, it's exciting. So you have a lot of fun momentum for most of the year. And then you've got the Five of Wands. Well, that's usually like too many cooks in the kitchen. Saturn in Leo, somebody with a big ego or their ego's too big for their britches. So, you know, honestly, the feeling I get is if somebody like that shows up like a competitor, an opponent, an adversary, you can deal with it. There's enough good things going on for you this year that I think you're meant to sort of overcome and transcend this person, not like get into duking it out with this person or getting too angry. That's the only thing there's sort of a temptation to get into you know, gunslinging with this person or put them in their place. I'd say don't even bother. Like there's going to be so many good things, good people, projects, activity, trips, stuff like there's good things coming in for you. You don't need to lower it by going there, but there's always jealous people and opponents when you're doing well. So let's just take it like it's just a test of going higher. If you didn't have somebody jealous or opposing you, it would mean you're not really doing anything that anyone's noticing in a way. So just take it as, oh yeah, just like if you're a celebrity, you expect to be trolled. You know, if your name is growing online, you expect people to clone your Instagram account. It's like whatever, it's just what happens as you're more visible. So I think you're going to have an excellent year, Geminis. All right, let's do Cancers now. I'm going to light some more of this. Yeah. All righty, here we go. All right, Cancer, you ready? You ready? How's your dragon year going to be, Cancer? All right. You got the Queen of Wands, the Queen of Discs, and the Chariot. How interesting. Okay, so there's two strong women here. One of them, Queen of Wands, is facing us head on, telling us clearly what she wants, what she's about to do. And then we've got the Queen of Discs, who has her little ram doing it for her. You see such a difference? Queen of Wands is in charge, and she's got the leopard's head, and she's going to point it in the direction she wants. She's dominant for sure. But she knows she's also facing us. She's the kind who's going to say, by the way, so-and-so, I would like this by 5, and I would like you to bring me a coffee. And if it's not done by then this is what's going to happen. Are we clear? Thanks. Then you got the Queen of Discs coming in, who's like, my secretary will handle it. I'm busy. And she is busy. She's accumulated whatever resources and wealth. Look at those horns. She's very likely a Taurus. Horns of prestige. Look at how big they are. They don't get that way for nothing. She's not a newbie. She's got business experience. She has resources, like I said, whether that's her house, whether that's her, wealth, her influence. But she's facing out, looking at whatever she wants to do next. And she is not facing you and she doesn't want to talk to you. And the little ram is going, and what do you want? You know, a little, like secretary or guard dog going, what's your number? Why do you need to call her? Okay, well, we'll let you know if she's available. Bye. So what do you do with that? You got two really strong forces who deal with life very differently. And then you've got the Chariot. What did we say about that in the beginning of the reading? Consolidating two people to get them on board. So who's the consolidator? You know, this could be either of these two archetypes could be you, although Cancers usually aren't either of those. This is usually more like Leo, Aries, you know, like Taurus, Capricorn. So are you the Chariot? Because that's the Cancer card here. Are you the one trying to consolidate two people to get them on board together? Could this be two different sides of yourself? Cancer has a leadership side to her. She also has an avoidance side to her. It's interesting though, because in terms of like, how's your year going to be? It feels like a lot of inner work, a lot of thought, a lot of reflection, a lot of psychology. How do we work with this and what brings out that and that? And so we can get them to sort of, you know, you might be sort of mediating, negotiating. You might be spending more time on building up relationships with people who can then help make things happen that you would like to see happen, whether it's for yourself or for a collective. So it feels sort of like an intellectualized kind of year, like a very inner reflection kind of year. Like action for sure, but like less sort of emotions on your sleeve, a little more like, I know what I see and I know what I'm sensing, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut and I'm going to, that's interesting. These two seem to be aligned. These two, it's going to be, okay, how can we bring these two together? How can we make things move forward? So sort of behind the scenes feeling. Yeah, very interesting cards. Hmm. All right, let's look at Leo. We need some fresh, is that sage? Yeah, okay. All right, let's take a look at you, Leos. How is your dragon year gonna go? Yeah, I don't know if that's sage. It smells like something else. I don't know what though. All right. Leo, how is your dragon year gonna go? You also have a Seven of Cups like Taurus. Seven of Swords. And the Princess of Swords. Okay. So in the Taurus reading, I described it really well as well. So you can go back and listen to theirs on top of this one. But the Seven of Cups is like emotionally messy. Emotionally messy. There's usually the classic Seven of Cups is like somebody looking at seven different cups going, oh my God, I don't know which one to choose. Like there's so many options and they all seem fine. Can't tell which one's real from what's not. In this case, the deck is showing you seven flowers just wilted. The water is stagnating and anything could be growing in there. So you have to look at where are you stagnating in your life. And it's Venus and Scorpio here, which could be your desires, your spiritual nature, your sexuality could be really stagnating. So you want to take a look at how can you clean those energies up. You know, because it's Venus and Scorpio, Seven of Cups, it's like debauchery here. This can mean sexual addiction, alcohol, bad eating, um, bad circulation, um, anything toxic in the water. You got to really look at what needs to be cleaned out and cleaned up this year. And it's interesting it came up for Leo and Taurus because you're at the beginning of Pluto challenging your sign. And so it will challenge you to do a major cleanup of the swampiness in your life. And you might be surprised because you felt like you might have been very comfortable where you are. You didn't even realize it was swampy, but it is. There's work to be done there. Now, the good news is the Seven of Swords is that you are going to clean it up. Look at that. You know, this is crystal clear, sparkly, shiny. All the swords are pointing inwards. They know what they're doing and what they focus on. And futility is like letting go, walking away, throwing it out, cleaning it up, moving on, moving out of town, moving to a new place. You know, it bodes very well for the fact that you will do a lot of work to clean up your life this year and move on. And then the Princess of Swords is the same thing we described in the general. She is struggling. She's trying to prove something. She is usually self-destructive. She usually makes things worse by trying harder. So this could be you. This could be someone around you. This could be part of the swamp. This could be someone that comes into your life this year. And she's usually more an air sign. And you'll have to really set limits with how much you get involved. Because if you've done all this work to clean up your swamp or clean up your house or clean up your relationship life, and it's feeling all sparkly like the Seven of Swords, and then you go, oh, I can help this person. Set limits with that, you know, because for you, Pluto is going through your seventh house of relationships, and you're about to go through many years of people just showing up in your life that you bond with or date, marry maybe, close friends, business partners, and there's going to be a lot of things to shift because Pluto can bring all kinds of shadowy aspects, people that have issues you never encountered before, dynamics with people that are more intense than ever before. So I'm cautioning you against somebody like this. If they walk into your life, you've got to know in advance or try to start figuring out, that's maybe part of the swampiness. You must start to figure out what your emotional boundaries are. And that will help you discern who gets in your life and who doesn't, and how far you take things to get close, to get to know, to help, whatever you're doing with that person. All right, let's look at Virgo. Virgo, what is your year of the dragon going to bring? All right, you've got the Eight of Wands, Two of Swords, Three of Wands. Lovely, lovely year for you, Virgo. So we're going to say, you know, expansion for sure. Traveling, education, a lot more reading, more speaking, more connecting to people by going out. That could be with Sag, that could be exercise or in nature. You know, a hiking club could be both of those, a cycling group, um, you know, some sort of meetup where you talk to people about your ideas or traveling or anything that gets your life optimistic and moving, you know, any kind of dreams you've had. This is a good time. The Two of Swords is peace. Well, you might find that you do make peace with something or someone in your life this year. You know, the two swords come together and there's a meeting of minds and it's calm and gentle. So that would be really wonderful. The moon in Libra, you know, you're seeking peace and fairness with somebody. You're seeking to get along, not to be opposed, right? To be closer. And so this is a lovely thing to work towards. You know, if you can think of anybody that's coming to mind as I'm speaking, perhaps the goal is needing to shift to how can I make peace with a certain person or a certain thing in my life. And finally, you've got the Three of Wands, which is virtue. And that is awesome, especially for a Virgo to me, because you step out of this servitude, overgiving, and into virtue, which is I am thinking of my own needs. And on top of that, I'm able to give. My needs are met. And from there, I am able to also give and help others. It's beautiful. What a beautiful year ahead for you, Virgo. That's great. All right, let's take a look at Libras. Now, you do have the South Node in your sign. So you might feel a lot of pressure to move forward because that North Node is going, dragging you. And you're like, no, stay here. Okay, let's see. What is your dragon year? You also have the sun like Gemini. You got the Prince of Cups. And you got the Queen of Discs. So the sun is awesome. In your element, shine and having fun, meeting people, going out, dating, love, children around, enjoying your interests, enjoying your maybe your city, your neighborhood, enjoying the kids, the pets, the people going by, you know, just drinking it all in, all the social energy. You love it, loving it this year. Prince of Cups is someone who arrives, who is very sensitive and giving and very like attentive. And also he's a little overwhelmed and he's not sure of himself. So he has sometimes a hard time following through or committing to things, but he's a lovely guy. Now that could be you, or that could be somebody around you that you get closer to who walks into your life, or who just gets closer, who's already in your life. But feels like you're going to have a role to play with this person. Either you date them, or you are friends with them, or you work with them, but you are guiding them somehow. You're helping build their confidence and helping them make a few decisions that would make their life flow a little better because he's having a hard time doing that. And then you've got the Queen of Pentacles, who I said in the Cancer reading, she doesn't want to look at things. She's looking out over her land, her wealth, her accumulation of whatever abundance she has. And she is not looking, she doesn't want to talk to people or have meetings or get into conflict. She's going to give that off to her ram, her little secretary there. Can I help you? Oh no, she's not in at the moment. No, I'm not sure when. You know? So you might end up dealing with her as well as the other one. Now, if you're dealing with someone who's more walled off and doesn't want to talk, that's quite upsetting for Libras. But that might also be you who's not wanting to do that. You might be the one who's looking away and doesn't want to talk. So, trying to tap into your year. I get a feeling there's going to be movement forward with your career. And some of these relationship things I'm mentioning, like the prince and the queen, they feel like familial relationships more than love and friends. It feels more like family. So, and your house of family is, well, Pluto's going through your fifth, which is, children and romance and stuff. There's still a little bit of stuff dragging through Capricorn. There might be a few more sort of family issues then to iron out this year with somebody. But overall, I get a really good feeling that you're going to be going out, seeing more people, expanding your horizons, and enjoying yourself with people, like much more outgoing than last year. So that's a good year. All right, let's do Scorpio. That sounded bad. Let's do Scorpios. No, let's take a look at Scorpio. Scorpio, how's your dragon year gonna go? All right, you've got the Empress and Justice and the Four of Swords. Oh, interesting. So the Empress is it could be a pregnancy or someone around you who's pregnant. It could be a very motherly type of person around you, very giving, very nurturing. You might be the nurturer. Even if it's a guy, you could be the Empress if you are a nurturer of other people. If you're giving birth to something, it doesn't have to be just a baby. The Justice card is interesting though, because like, there's some sort of reckoning, that happens with the Justice card. I don't know whether you've got a legal issue going on that, might hopefully be finishing up. Um, if it's brand new, I'm hearing hang on tight, you know, be careful, play your cards right, cautious. If it's something where it's been ongoing and now it needs to wrap up, it feels like it will actually finish and wrap up this year. It's stopped dragging. However, you do have Pluto starting to go through and challenge your sign. And it's in your let's see. Yeah, yeah, it would be your fourth house. Yeah, family and home. Hmm. I don't get that feeling from this though. This feels like you found some support that you didn't expect. And the Empress is like, it's better than you thought. You found you found some good people to help you through. And like I said, whatever this reckoning is, this karmic rebalancing of something, this legal matter perhaps, whatever has been unjust, that's been hanging in the balance, it's going to finish up this year, which is wonderful news because I know a couple of Scorpios in that position. All right. And the last card is Four of Swords, which is awesome. Truce. There could be a really amazing way that something you thought was going to be like a battle or, very polarized ends up in a much better solution than you ever thought. Wow, what a message. Like something that you felt very down or isolated or like, oh, here we go again. It's me against the world. It's us against them. Or, because a lot of Scorpios get in situations where they feel misunderstood and down about it, but this feels like, no, there's going to be people around that understand, that support, that get you. It's going to be people that either join forces with you. There's going to be something where it expands beyond just you, the you and them model. It's bigger than you, and it feels like it turns out in your favor. So this is a good year to resolve, reconcile, talk things out, make amends, finalize some of the old crap that's been going on. But involve other people, ask for support, get help, and involve other people. It's going to be really good. Wow. Wow. All right, Sagittarius, how is your dragon year going to go? I don't know what this is in here, but it ain't sage. It does not smell like sage. Maybe I put by accident some. Oh, it might be sage from the plant outside instead of the Californian. Okay, that's better. All right, Sagittarius. What is your dragon year going to be like? All right, your first card. Oh my goodness, this has come up 3 times for people. Wow. Okay, 8 of Wands. So again, traveling, expansion, having fun, exercise, interests and projects going forward, lighthearted, adventurous. Oh boy, what a year for you. Oh boy. Oh boy. Wow. Okay. Yeah, so as you expand your horizons and take some risks, travel, go somewhere, experiment, innovate, go. I don't know why, but we should just do that. 4 of Wands kicks in, Venus and Aries. Something brews inside you from this, something inspirational, something new that is your own starts to brew. So you might suddenly go on a hike, a trip, somewhere different than you've ever been. And from there, you're like, wow, you know what this place needs? You know what would be interesting to do that I never thought of? You know what I really, really, really want? Yeah, it's a huge moment of like light bulbs, light bulbs going on. The death card. Amazing. Your life's going to turn around, but I think in a very good way. I get this goosebumpy feeling for you. Wow, it's almost like you decide to do something spontaneous, like let's just, I've never seen this place. Let's just, the flights are cheap. Let's just go. And it's like it unlocks this portal. You're like, oh my Lord, oh my goodness, I've never seen anything like this. I've never been anywhere like this. I'm feeling so many things I've never felt. And it just starts to like, and the death card to me is just like, it's opening another dimension. The death card is not a death. It's like your old life or your old paradigm or the old way you used to see the world. That's what's going. And then this new one takes its place that is so much bigger. This very expansive year for you, Sagittarius. Wow. All right, let's do Capricorn. Mhm. Capricorn, how is your year going to be? Dragon year. Science card. 9 of Swords. And the Eon. Okay. All right. Hmm. There's lots of analyzing and thinking things through this year. Science card, trying to put things in order and sort of from top to bottom, looking at everything in detail and getting things as organized and clear as you possibly can, and taking inventory in a way, inventory of your life, which makes sense after Pluto spent such a long time there. Taking stock and inventory. Now, the thing is, the 9 of Swords means there's still some situation in your life that is not healthy. And it says cruelty. This can be anything from the way you treat yourself or talk to yourself, mental, emotional cruelty, betraying yourself, sabotaging yourself, playing more than one role at a time, like confusing yourself because it's Mars and Gemini. Who am I? Which one am I? Which one's the real me? Stand up. Or you might be around somebody else, or be, um, the recipient of some sort of, mental, emotional cruelty or sabotage. Either way, you're going to spot it and you're going to do something about it because you've got the Judgment card of the Eon. So this is like a big year of like looking back and forward in a way and taking stock, and you're going to root out anything that shouldn't be there. I don't know if you heard that. A bunch of kids just went by in a car with loud music. Whoa! At that very moment. That was sort of funny. Um, yeah, you're going to be evaluating and pulling out the weeds, and that'll be that. The judgment day has come. You've had enough. You spotted it. You don't like it. It's gone. Um, you are tired of the way you operate and the way you think, the way you treat yourself, and you will fix it. You will get help. You know, it's this kind of determination to call it for what it is and do something about it. There's no more weighing or analyzing or wondering about it. So yeah, it's a busy year. I feel like it's overall you're gonna feel still alleviated from what it used to be with the other, Pluto transit. Um, so it's sort of like going in one last time and cleaning house, making way for a truly new chapter to begin. Truly, truly new chapter. There's just a little bit more to go. All right, Aquarius, let's see for you. All right, Aquarius, how is your dragon year gonna go? So you got the Seven of Wands. Oh my goodness, the Chariot's showing up again. It's the third time. And the Eight of Swords. Okay. Well, I would expect that with Pluto starting to roll through. So Seven of Wands is, standing your ground against opposition. Maybe you feel like you're being overwhelmed or sort of crunched. You don't have the freedom to move. You don't have the freedom to really be yourself. And if that's the case, there, there's too many people around that are either competing or overwhelming, and you feel like there's no room to truly express yourself. You need a bit of space. You need to be able to stretch and to explore what you really came here to do, what you really want to say, who you really are. And something about the mix of people around you or the environment you're in is not allowing that so easily. So you're gonna have to be like making some space this year. Um, if there's certain people that just or groups or activities just aren't working for you. Now you've got the Chariot, which again I said in other science readings, consolidating of oppositional forces, trying to get people on board, working together, team building, mediating, trying to get the best mix out of the people that you've got together. So you could be, if you're a manager and this could be your team, this could be a dad with, the kids in the family. This could be, um, a mom who's running uh, a group at the school, and she's got, people that are sort of running amok and trying to like not really listening, and she's trying to like get everybody all on the same page so they can start to roll the chariot forward and accomplish something again. So you might feel a bit of that kind of tension or frustration this year. And then you've got the Eight of Swords, which is like my analysis paralysis card, and it basically even says interference, but that's usually your mind against yourself. Like the card has it's hard to see, but up there's Jupiter at the very top, between the two swords at the top, and Gemini. Jupiter and Gemini is where is going to happen this year. It's going to come in around, I believe, late May or June, and it's going to stick around for a year. And Jupiter and Gemini will bring like lots of socializing and talking and media and um, lots of networking and almost like overwhelming. This is the card when there's like too many options, too many thoughts, too many options, too many people, too many, and you just start to get flooded, and then you can't do anything. You're mentally exhausted. So remember, we said like you this year need some space. You need to have a little bit of room and time to yourself so you can start to figure out like this Pluto is just starting to ramp up. Like, what are you going to become? What do you need some room to transform yourself into what you could become or what you've wanted to become. And if you're bogged down by too many things, too many obligations, too many people around, it's hard to get there. You can't get there. So you need some time. And I think if you are able to create some sort of space for yourself this year to think and be on your own a little bit, that you're going to get a lot of flashes and visions of insight and desires of what you would really like to do next. And you'll be adding some activities or bringing them further, but you'll be letting go of some too. So there's a simplification over the course of the year of purpose, you know? Not singular. You're never doing just one, but you're not doing seven, you know? So that is a good sign. That's hopeful. You just need some space first. And some people might not understand that right away, that you need that, but you're going to have to take it by force. And finally, Pisces. All right, Pisces, how is your dragon year going to go? Got the King of Swords, Two of Discs, and the Five of Cups. Well, to me, this is pretty clear. Like there's a man in your life that seems very charming and gregarious and all the rest, smart, but he's inconsistent. He's up and down, hot and cold. You can't really trust him. And so the Five of Cups to me means you gotta let him go or release him. Like a fish, you throw him back in the sea. So whoever this person is around you, like they might be very clever and they might, they might be or they might think they're clever. Who knows? Sometimes the King of Swords shows up and is actually like a shark type lawyer. And other times, the King of Swords shows up and he thinks he's all that and smart, but he ain't. Um, but the Two of Discs is sort of like you're up and down a lot this year. There's a lot of change, but like, you know, loop the loop. It's going to be hard, a little hard maybe to break free of this loop that this person has set in motion in your life. That could be anybody that, if that's your a relationship with a parent and it's in a certain cycle and it's just like it's not breaking and you need to like let yourself feel the disappointment of letting it go, let it be over. Don't keep doing the same thing with the same person. This could be a battle that you're in with a landlord for all we know. And it's like, it just loops the loop. It doesn't move forward. It doesn't move on. It's up and down all the time. The guy isn't changing. You got to face like the disappointment and let it go of that person, that place, that fight, maybe. So there's something like that going on where you're going to be asked to like face the music about something and you're going to have to get off the wheel. Stop letting the record play. And you will have to go through some grief in order for life to move on and change. But you know, I get a good feeling as far as your creative outlets go. And I get a good feeling as far as like lots of support from your friends. And I also get a feeling of like a watershed kind of year. Like I said, there's some disappointment. So you need to let yourself let it out and be emotional about it if you need to. So that is our little quick view of the dragon year. I'm wishing everybody a happy Valentine's Day. And we'll be back for the full moon right after that. So if you would like to click, share, subscribe, makes me very happy. Please do.